I am conflicted. When I was watching episode 3 of season 8, every scene and sequence was excessively gripping. The visuals when we didn't have shaky cam were stunning. Every sequence of events was a massive spectacle, and my emotions were going up and down the entire time. When the Dothraki's Araks were all lit aflame, my heart raised, the music soared, they charged forward, and you felt amazing. When they were chewed to pieces and the lights flickered out slowly, you felt dread. The screams and roars of Brienne shivered me to my spine. The raw emotion that could be translated across with no words, no dialogue, by people just looking at each other. Over and over they communicated so well just with their facial expressions. Whether it was Jorah simply riding back in retreat from the Dothraki getting slaughtered and giving Tormund that small shake of the head that meant so much had gone wrong. Or when Sansa arrives at the crypts and her face is just gaunt. And again when her and Tyrion are hiding behind that crypt as everyone's getting slaughtered in the background and they have that genuine honest stare where I honestly thought they were going to kill each other rather than face those creatures. The sound design worked in tandem with the emotions of the characters so well. After the Dothraki are defeated, we hear the sounds of the dead rushing forward. The sounds of hundreds of thousands of screeching, half-torn-out throats. As this heartbeat-like drum gets faster and faster, we cross between the fear of Podrick's eyes, the conviction of Grey Worm and his Unsullied, then boom, the wall of dead hits them. We, the audience, are put at a ground level where the men stand with their spears ready, and we see that wave just cross right over the first few rows, engulfing everyone it touches, truly putting how fucked they are into perspective. There is no denying that Dan and Dave set this up right from the get-go to show how hopeless it all was. They didn't want to kill off their characters, of course. They kept most of them alive, but they damn sure wanted us to believe they were willing to kill them all. I don't know a single person who was watching this who didn't think, oh shit, they might actually kill everyone here. And every time they'll give you a little bit of hope, like maybe your characters will make it out of here. Look, Dany's coming down with a dragon. She smashes a line of the undead. Then an ice storm hits and she's thrown out of the picture. And doom resets again. Then Melisandre lights the pit in this giant blaze of glory, and the army of the dead just simply makes some land bridges and carries on the attack. Every hurdle they had in place, from the Dothraki, the Unsullied, the fire pit, the dragons, the walls, the inner walls, everything got broken through. Everything was on the attack, even on the individual level. When we have Hope with Arya, which is going around like a badass, killing whites left and right, she even gets overwhelmed. She gets scared and she has to run for it. Every time the doom gets closer and closer, every time our characters get swarmed by the dead, we look for any chance, any possibility of hope, and we just get more and more desperate with more and more extreme ideas. At a certain point, it looks so dire, so dark. You're like, well, everyone's going to die, but maybe Bran will reset time and he'll know how to do it better for the second round. Like not kamikazing the Dothraki in the first seconds. But it doesn't happen. Everyone keeps getting pushed back, corner and cornered, surrounded by the dead, getting closer to their imminent death. The fire doesn't kill the Night King. Jon can't surprise him. The dragon can't be stopped. And Theon runs out of arrows. And we find ourselves hopeless and trapped in a wheelchair like Bran, looking up at the unflinching stare of the Night King, who has all the power. It was almost like a giant power trip from D&D, where they just want to grab us by the balls and show us that they can do anything they want. And only at the very last moment, before every major character dies, before everything is lost, that they throw Arya in with the big ninja plays. It seemed like this episode was willing to sacrifice everything to get what it wanted done. It didn't seem to care about cause and effect, or setup and payoff. It just wanted to toy with your emotions and make you feel a certain way. They needed you to feel like there were stakes in this fight, to make you feel like it was hopeless and the White Walkers were going to win, while simultaneously keeping all of the characters alive pretty much, which is exceedingly difficult to do. And so you get this weird mixed bag that keeps us conflicted. We were like, the story didn't seem to quite fit together nicely. There were things that just keep happening that would really annoy and frustrate you. But the episode as a whole felt so damn epic. Even though the individual elements could frustrate you to your core, you could understand they achieved the exact feeling they wanted. And so from that motive, we end up with this weird monster of an episode, where characters keep getting swarmed over and over again by whites, and then appearing okay in the next scene, where Brienne, Podrick, and Jaime are pushed against the wall surrounded by whites for a solid 15 minutes, where every stage of the battle tactics just doesn't make sense, and Sam just keeps on living through the middle of it. But as a whole, the episode is emotionally powerful and undeniably visually stunning. It won't be my favorite episode, but I'm not going to forget it anytime soon. One surprising thing that I enjoyed about this episode was the fact that John kind of took a backseat. For once, he wasn't really the hero of the battle. Every time he did try to do something heroic, it kind of didn't work and he failed. Straight away, he botched up his plan to try and wait for the Night King and went with Dany, didn't really do that much work and was half in, half out, and then his dragon got taken out pretty quickly. And they even played with us a bit, kind of setting up these heroic moments that looked like he was going to do something cool, but then he ends up like stopping halfway through, like when he's charging the Night King, and he just goes like, oh shit, I'm not getting to him in time. When he's charging the dragon, he's like, oh fuck, gotta jump behind this rock. So he kind of seemed half in and half out the entire episode. Which is interesting because he's the kind of character who's been facing this threat the entire time throughout the series. It seemed like his challenge, but it really wasn't. One of the most surprising things we got with him when he was running through half haze, trying to get to Bran, and he sees Sam, his good friend who he's always trying to protect most of his life, with his white on top of him trying to kill him, and he just walks straight past and keeps going. And then right at the end, when he kind of faces the dragon, he stands up, he doesn't hold his sword up, he doesn't try to stab it, doesn't try to rush it, he just screams at it hands down. Almost like he'd given up and he just wants to die there. So it seems like they could be saving Jon for some other big finale moment, which surprises me a lot because he's the person who has the least baggage with Cersei, so facing her won't be that important of a payoff for Jon. And this is especially true when you compare it to the White Walkers, and the only other kind of big thing I can think of in his life that could be going into the future is this whole Aegon Targaryen thing. So that must actually have a big reveal somewhere if that's going to take more importance over the Night King defeat. I also quite enjoyed Melisandre's role in this episode. She was the one that kind of gave us hope for the future in the Dawn, like there was some mythical forces on their side as well. Like if you think about it, all of the moments of victory throughout this episode came from her really. First off with the Dothraki, and then lighting the trench pit, and then finally telling Arya, yo, you need to go kill the Night King. It also gave us quite a lot of peace of mind at the end when she walks out and gives into her age, letting go of the magic. Because if someone who looks into the flames, whose whole purpose is this war with the White Walkers, feels like it's over, then there's no real chance of them wiggling the Night King back into the story. Also, Melisandre's death was quite similar to a lot of the other characters that died throughout this episode. All of the major players who died really died at the end of their arcs, but they've achieved something that they really had their life's purpose towards. Like when I was actually watching the show, I always thought like, oh, the Hound's still got important things to do, so he's fine. But then like Theon had his redemption arc and was kind of forgiven by everyone, and they put him on the chopping block. I'm like, oh no, Theon, be more flawed. And again, we saw that Jorah had accepted the fact that Dany doesn't really need him as an advisor anymore, and was okay with Tyrion taking that position, and he was just there to protect her and guide her, and so sacrificing himself for her in a battle with his armor on made his character go full circle and kind of wrap up what he's stood for ever since the beginning of the story. Though it wasn't really a hard and fast rule, because I thought that Grey Worm had come to his complete arc, they suddenly were the only really effective fighting force against the Whites. And they were like quite nobly sacrificing themselves, being the only people to kind of hold the line and protect the retreat. And then they're having that whole struggle to light the pit, and I thought, oh no, Grey Worm's going to grab a torch, run past all the White Walkers when everyone else is failing, and light it himself in one final moment. But luckily we didn't get that, and he's still alive. And then of course we had Arya, who had quite a large role in this episode. I think for the most of the beginning of the episode, they were trying to foreshadow her skills as a ninja, being able to quietly slip around and stay away from the White Walkers and get under tables, to run really fast, to be able to fight really hard. Like, it was really tense, well put together, and good drama, but it also gave us the reason to believe that she has the ability to actually kill the Night King. One of my favorite little tidbits from the episode was when the Hound saw her and like, fuck, I guess I have to give her my fair of fire because it's Arya. Beric played that quite nicely by pointing her out. And then finally we see her meet up with Melisandre. Now again here, I feel they were quite last minute throwing in some kind of foreshadowing for the Night King getting killed by her. Like, it does make a bit of sense that Arya would be the one to kill him. Like, if you're going to have an individual character take down another individual character, an assassin is the way to do that. If you want armies burned, go to Daenerys. If you want men on your side, go to Jon. If you want to protect the movements of evil bitches, then you need Sansa. But if you need one particular person slain, Arya's your go-to. So there was some cool character moments and good plot here and there, but mostly it was a shit show of fighting. Maybe I'll make some future videos kind of breaking down more particularly small parts of this, so I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on very particular moments in this very long episode that you thought were quite notable or you really enjoyed. And if you could be so kind to like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be really awesome too.